Hey, it's Rebecca, and you are listening to Resilient by Design. Today, I'm diving into what it costs to renovate and decorate a space, a room, a house. Do you know what it costs? What do you do when a client calls you and says, my house is this size, and this is what I want to do with my kitchen and my living room. How much is it going to cost? What do you do? Do you have an answer? Do you tell them a number? So today's episode is going to help you answer that question. I'm going to give you some ideas of how you can approach this conversation with clients before they have even hired you, and a way to do it so you are not kicking yourself in the behind. Is that the right expression? I'm like, or stabbing yourself in the foot. You know, one of those things. Don't hurt yourself. Hopefully this episode helps you. It's an exercise I just went through with my team. It was very eye-opening. So here we go. How to determine what a project is going to cost.
All right. I'm Rebecca Hay, and I've built a successful interior design business by trial and error, podcasts, online courses, and so many freaking books. Over the last decade, I've grown from an insecure student to having false starts to careers, and now I'm finally in the place where I want to be. Throughout my journey, it's been pretty obvious that I'm passionate about business and helping other entrepreneurs do the same. Each week, I'll share tangible takeaways from my own experience and the experiences of other badass women to help you build your confidence and change your business.
All right, here we go. So I want to talk about project cost and how to calculate it, because I can tell you that for the longest time, I wanted a way to calculate project cost, but I felt like it wasn't possible. And I really subscribe to that idea that I can't tell you what it's going to cost, fancy pants designer over here. It really is going to depend on the fabric and how many pieces and how much millwork do you really want in your kitchen? How custom? Are we doing a framed kitchen? What's the backsplash? Is it going to be slab? Is it going to be subway tile? There's so many decisions that haven't been made yet. And so I can't accurately estimate what your project is going to cost. And yes, that is true. However, I believe that when you get enough experience under your belt, you should be able to get enough information so that you can look back and say, okay, I can average everything out. This is what it costs. And so here's what I used to do, or I've done up until very, very recently. And I think I even mentioned this inside my discovery call script. So you guys can download that at RebeccaHay.com/discovery if you want to see how I pre-qualify my clients in a phone call. But basically, I would use past projects as an example. So for example, what I would do is say, oh, you want to renovate your kitchen and do your main floor. Well, the last project we did in such and such a year, let's say it was this year, 2023, the kitchen was a mid-sized Toronto home, and it cost about $90,000. Or we just did a main floor renovation, and the total cost came in about $250,000. That's what I would do. I would just give examples from past projects. And I'm going to be honest with you, I would sometimes make it up a little bit. I would kind of look at past projects and know that I can't do a kitchen for less than 80 grand. So I would say, oh, we recently completed a kitchen and it was about $90,000. It's a little white lie in the sense that I didn't just recently do it, but I do kitchens. I've done something of a similar size. I'm hoping to do it a little bit more elevated. So I would kind of push the boundary with what I would say. Or I would say, the minimum cost really to decorate a living room is about $30,000. But in quoting all of these prices, I wasn't getting super clear in my own head about, okay, how much is fees? How much is construction? How much is, what's left? Decorating, right? Sometimes I would just give a number for the decorating, not including our fees. Sometimes I would just talk about fees. I was not consistent. I did what I needed to do to sell the clients into the consultation, and usually it always worked, but I found a better way. And this better way actually came to me from a designer who is inside my designer's room. It's a membership that we have. It's an annual membership that is open to the students who complete or who sign up for Power of Process, even if you haven't completed it. And you're invited. It's only open twice a year for enrollment. And we invite those students into the membership. And the membership is an annual membership. We meet twice a month. It's called Designer's Room. You've probably seen me talk about it on Instagram. And it's a really beautiful community of designers. We meet twice a month on Zoom. And so there's always tons of information shared, like really great, tangible feedback from different members doing different things. And oftentimes I even get ideas from those groups. But this idea came out of a one-on-one call with one of those members. And she said that she was using a square footage as a benchmark. And let me clarify, not square footage when it comes to pricing your design services, not the way that I charge, which many of you know, which is a square footage fixed fee model. Not like that. A total cost, the way a new construction builder will quote a house. So if you're going to build a new house, there's benchmarks, and it depends on where you live, what state, what country. But essentially it's like, okay, to build a house, you're looking at a minimum of like $300 a square foot or whatever it is. It's changing all the time. It's probably just continuing to go up and up and up. And so she said that that's what she's been using. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is brilliant, because I now have enough projects in my back pocket or in our archive that we've done with data that we can mine, and we can see what is the typical square footage of the projects we do. And so what we did, at the end of the year, and this is actually the second aha that I'm sharing with you guys for my year-end planning. So I do this end of year review. You guys can go listen to how I do it in the podcast. I have a few episodes. I do it every year. But the other takeaway that I had to do with teams' hours and how much we're charging for our services. And that was an episode. I just recorded it, so I don't know if it's come out yet at the time of recording this one. So I don't know the number, but it was all about profitability. So go listen to that one about profitability if you want to know what my other aha was. But for this aha, what we did is we pulled all of our projects that were relatively similar. We eliminated any of the outliers, right? If it was just, oh, we just had a return client and we helped her get a few more chairs, or, oh, we helped this big builder with their community direction. Like, those are a little bit different projects and they shouldn't count towards figuring out an average. But we averaged out all of our projects, the total cost to the client. So fees included, construction included, decorating included, like total client spend. We put that down for every single project. And then we looked at what the square footage was for each project. And so we figured out, okay, what is the average per square foot for project A? What was the cost per square foot for project B? What was the cost per square foot for project C, D, E, all the projects? And then when we saw there was a varying cost per square foot, so maybe one was like $150 a square foot, one was $500 a square foot, one was $200 a square foot. What we then did is we averaged those numbers. And we came up with an average that was a minimum. And like, I'm saying average because it might be weighted depending on the year if you have smaller projects or bigger projects. But we determined that the minimum dollar per square foot spend that a client has done with us is $250,000. That's all in. So $250, sorry. It does not cost $250,000 a square foot to work with us yet. $250, which was interesting because that was more or less what I'd heard other people say. And I sort of thought, okay, like that's a benchmark. I can now say confidently in a discovery call that it's not going to be less than $250 a square foot. In fact, it's likely considerably more. And so people can start to do that mental math. And so that because we're so focused as designers and business owners often on our fees. What's it going to cost? Are they going to pay for us? Are they going to pay for us? Our clients, they're thinking about their total spend. Like, how much is this whole, if I want to put a pool in my backyard, in fact, I would love to put a swim spa. What are they called? Not a swim spa, like an in-ground immerse spa. Although I'm thinking possibly maybe in the next house because our yard is pretty small. It's like basically an in-ground pool that functions year round. Go check it out. I'm like obsessed with this idea. A friend of mine just put it in. It's amazing. You can use it year round. Basically, it's a giant hot tub in the ground. I don't even know what the cost is to keep heating it, now that I think about it. But when you live in a climate like I do in Toronto, having a pool you can only use 2 months of the year is a little crazy. Anyways, so if I was looking at the cost, okay, I'm not just looking, okay, so the immerse spa itself maybe costs $40,000, but then how much is the landscaping? How much is the architectural, like the planning? How much is the labor? Like, I want to know the total investment. I'm not interested in little itty bitty pieces. Yes, we can whittle those down and try and find better deals, but just give me the total. Like, is it going to be $100,000, $150,000? Like, what is it? And can I afford it? So I think that, and I'm curious if anyone else who's paying attention right now does this. Have you done this? Has it backfired? Does it work for you? I'm just starting to use this technique. Because obviously that number is going to go up and up and up as you do higher end projects, as the cost of materials and goods increases with inflation. Like, that is just normal. But I thought it was a really great way to determine a benchmark, a starting point to understand what the cost is to your clients. You could do it by room. If you just do decorating projects, let's say, then let's figure out what does it cost per square foot to decorate. And I highly recommend you include your fees in that, because then you just gives the clients a bigger picture, as opposed to like, oh, you said it was going to be $30,000 for the living room, but then your fees $10,000. Like, what gives? So in my experience, I found that most clients really are keen to know what the total cost is going to be. And then they'll look at, okay, what is your fee in relation to that? But oftentimes they just want to know they can afford everything that they want, which, let me be honest, they probably can't. But it's better to let them know ahead of time so they can find the money somewhere, right? Then there's always those clients that'll just keep finding the money. Those are great clients. Keep those clients close. But for the decorating example, you could say, I don't know, I'm making up this number. I don't actually know if this is true. You're looking at about $100 a square foot to decorate. And you might find that there's a threshold. So it's going to cost a little bit more for smaller spaces because you need to charge more for your time. And so that's a conversation you can have up front as well. Okay, so that is my new way of kind of getting a better understanding of project cost ahead of time. And I'm curious. I'd love to know how you guys do it. If you do it this way, if you've tried it, I think it's kind of brilliant. So we'll let you know. We'll report back to you. Let me know absolutely in the comments on YouTube, on Instagram, in our Facebook group, our interior designer meetup. Facebook is called Designer Meetups on Facebook. That's the group, the growing group where everyone is sharing resources and helping each other. And I'm often showing up there, trying to answer your questions and provide even more value. So let me know, because I think this is going to be a really helpful tool to have in your back pocket, especially going into a little bit of a weird economy. The more knowledge that you are equipped with, the more your clients will respect that and value that and want to hire you. All right. That was a shorty, but hopefully a goodie. All right. I'll see you soon.